We have a big guest this week for the show. We got a lot of Flyers talk, a lot of NHL news. We have friend of the program, Russ Joy from Crossing Broad, also Snow the Goalie and Crossing Broadcast, and also the Russ Joy Show, as he is our special guest and he's about to join us right now. And welcome back to the Upper Bowl Podcast, Russ Joy. Russ, how we doing? It was freshly out of meetings all day, as I usually fill in for him for Crossing Broadcast on Thursdays during the fall. How we doing these days?
Oh, things are great. Things are wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
It's hope springs eternal. Ace Bailey can suck an egg.
Let me know how you really feel.
He can pound sand. He can. Ace
Kick
Bailey.
rocks.
Ace Bailey is a total fraud. Can we talk about?
Yes.
Like
Not
Keith
gonna be
Pompey. I saw Pompers. I'm gonna call him Pompers. Sounds like Droopy Dog, but Pompey, says,
But Ace, just out of curiosity, do you feel regret that you didn't do any of the workouts?
and he's like, well, I'm just gonna control what I can control.
Okay, but like, why didn't you do the workouts?
I'm gonna control what I can control. Basketball. Dumbass. What are we doing? What are we doing?
He's a total JO, as we call him.
They have this rumors going around now that he only wants to go to, I think it was Charlotte, Washington, or New Orleans. No, sorry. Washington, New Orleans, or the Nets. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Like, Ace Bailey, you absolute dope. Like, what are you doing?
Read the room. Read the room. Like, you're going to Philadelphia. For real. Like, Washington's the worst spot.
I don't want him. He threw out the first pitch at the Mets game. He doesn't want to meet. Listen, now, in fairness, I wouldn't meet Daryl Morey either. I wouldn't want to talk to Daryl Morey.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But, let's be real here. Like, if you're a young player, right? This guy is so convinced that he's going to be like a stud, that he's like going to walk in and like average, 25 as a rookie, 25 a game? Like, is he nuts?
Oh, why would I want to go to Philadelphia and have actual guards that I could play with, and Maxey and McCain? Why would I could go play with Paul George and maybe sit under his always injured but still learning tree. Oh, I could go play with a former MVP when he plays 30 games a season.
Like, why wouldn't you want to be part of that?
Like, you get playing time. Come on.
It's a great situation.
It's a wonderful situation.
What are we doing here?
He's not reading the room or the situation, which I think Daryl Morey does not know how to do since he left Houston anyways. So
Daryl Morey is a liar, and I refuse to be part of an organization that he is part of. Let me say that again.
All-time drop. All-time drop. All right. I was going through the archives, by the way. Last time I had you was when Claude Giroux got traded to the Florida Panthers.
It couldn't have been that long. Was it really that long ago?
It was that long ago. Yes, you're a busy man. I always like to give you
that's
space
true.
all the time anyway.
Yeah.
So I told you, it was like, people want him down here in Florida, and I was like, you can have him. He's going to be a self-centered bitch anyways and be the main person. I'll say it anyways.
Wow.
And I've said this to Ottawa fans whenever they come down here. It's like, you enjoy the Giroux experience. He does not show up at all in the big ones. Like, oh, he's doing great for the young players. Like, that's good. That's a great thing.
Sure.
I'll forward back to the Flyer fan right now.
He did so great for the young players here too. That's why they've all reached their potential.
Yeah,
Really next level captain right there. So
I know,
yeah.
for sure. What was your? I haven't talked to you. You got me into. I can't stand John Tortorella. Right from the get go, and also during the 23-24 season, like I looked at it as like, this team's gonna fall out of the playoff spot. Who did you? What did you throw a parade when he got fired? Because I kind of did, anyways.
I didn't throw a parade. It was an inevitable thing, right? Like no one thought that for 25-26 he was going to be on the bench.
No.
I mean, listen, the Flyers will say, no, there were no talks about having him take a front office role. That's not true.
I didn't want him to take a front office role.
But like, that was something that a bunch of people had talked about. And so he flamed out at the end. Like, and it's weird because depending on who you talk to, and I happen to talk to like some people who'd have a very good idea. Like, there were some weird things that happened at the end there where
the presser against Toronto.
It was really, so the Cam York thing that happened in the locker room didn't help matters, and I think kind of made it there was no way to fix that situation at that point. And a few of the things that he had said publicly leading up to it, especially like I don't want to learn how to coach a team in this kind of situation, that didn't go over well. I mean, with the fans, it kind of didn't go over well, but like internally, it definitely didn't reflect well. And one thing that you've now seen, and it wasn't just here, it happened in Dallas where Pete DeBoer kind of shit all over Jake Ottinger, but like
Blamed him.
the idea of you lose the locker room, you say something publicly that effectively loses the locker room, and it is going to cost you your job now. Like it happened with DeBoer. I think that happened in a large way with Torts. Listen, a year prior, he kind of he said something flippant about, what did you expect when Felix Sandstrom was in net? And then he came back a couple days later and sort of apologized, right? Because Felix Sandstrom isn't an NHL goalie. What good does it do to kick that guy? He was still sort of young, and why kick him while he's down? That made no sense. The Couturier thing absolutely fractured the relationship between him and many in that locker room. And by the way, from an optics perspective, it doesn't help your organization when you're trying to recruit free agents or whatever that this guy who's played with the team since he was 18, the guy who you named captain, that guy, who went through 2 back surgeries to try to get back in and play for you, we're gonna take a big old dump on that guy as well. That doesn't do much to help you. So, it kind of felt like it was inevitable that they were going to go separate ways. Mm-hmm. It's just weird. I didn't celebrate it, though, because it felt like a waste, right? Ultimately, it felt like wasted opportunity. I don't think he was the right coach at the right time.
Me and you were on the same page as, Tortorella's going to get Chucky two trades fired, and I'm waiting for that. That's one thing we rooted for, and we were both on the right side of history for that. And I was waiting for I'm okay, Danny better pull the trigger here because I don't want this to be the old boys network of 2003, 2004 style hockey anyways.
Yeah, the only reason that I was fine with them hiring Torts at the time is I knew it was going to lead to Fletcher getting out of here sooner than later.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that Fletcher to that point had shown you many, many times over why he was in over his head as the president and GM of the team. And so that was okay. By all means, light him on fire, fire him into the sun. It was a means to an end. But then once the dust settled, it was all right, you had people on the outside, right? So a lot of fans would say this, a lot of detractors would say, oh, well, is Torts just trying to, ramrod or railroad Briere? Is he questioning Briere's authority and all that kind of stuff? And internally, the message was no, it's a collaborative thing. Okay, fine. Torts is still going to have sway. Torts still had sway with a lot of people in that organization. So it would be kind of unfair to say there was no influence. There was. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, I think that them moving on from him, bringing in Tocchet, I think they're in a better place. And I think what you've now seen in a very short period of time is you've seen Danny Briere kind of put his stamp on the team. It started with the Frost and Farabee trades. Mm-hmm. The Kuzmenko deal was a minor thing. Doing the right thing by Eric Johnson, sending him out to Colorado, that was a good PR move. That was a good move when you're trying to get free agents and all that kind of stuff. That this organization does things the right way. That does matter.
I agree.
But this move, this most recent one, it's the kind of thing that you need.
Yeah.
Bringing in a guy who's low risk, high reward, it can only help.
Oh yeah. I was looking at this. Who did you, before they hired Tocchet, who did you really want as head coach?
I didn't have anybody that I was hell bent on.
Okay.
It was a weird kind of period, right? Because
that guy took my absence anyways from Flyers Twitter and everybody. So
yeah, listen, there was the thought out there that Sullivan would have been a target for them. Mm-hmm. I didn't want Sullivan. One, you had the Torts thing. You had the Torts of it all. There was no way Sullivan was going to land here.
I thought he'd be the Bruins head coach at least. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, and my issue with Sullivan all along was you happen to win cups. Yes, that's great. You did that with a prime Crosby and a prime Malkin and a prime Letang. So I don't know how to evaluate you outside of that.
And Pestel too, also.
Yeah, and so people got really hot and heavy for David Carl, and I'm there's no way David Carl's leaving where he's at now. He's not moving across the country. I think he's got a young family across the country to come take the Philly job. Yeah, I thought that maybe the Rangers job could be attractive because that's one where you step into an immediate cup contender. There's a path there, but if you want job security, I'm not sure that's the place to go.
No.
So there weren't a lot of names out there that got me excited. The only one that maybe late in the process, I guess, was the Western Michigan coach that won the national championship.
Okay.
What the hell? Fronheim. Yeah, Firschweiler.
Yeah.
I was like, he would have been interesting. But then you have another one of those coach to pros. He had previously been at the NHL level before as an assistant, which is different than like when Dave Haxtell was here. But
Yeah.
I don't feel like there was a name out there that I was like absolutely after. Like even Quenneville coming back in, like this isn't the right time for a Joel Quenneville if you're the Flyers. So like, I just Tockett's okay. Like I don't hate the hire, and in the aftermath of it, I don't hate it. And just like knowing the way that like they value and like it seems like he's valued in circles, like when it comes to respect from players and such, maybe it does help them. Like maybe ultimately that is a thing that helps them recruit some better players to this team.
Plus, Tocchet coached with the Colorado Avs before the lockout, which was like impressive. People forget about that, and he coached with the under Wayno and stuff. So I think it's a name, but it was not my first choice. I thought they just grab someone from the AHL and just shit the year, and just try and get first pick. Anyway,
I actually was a little bit surprised that they didn't give Brad Shaw a short-term deal because he was so well respected. That to me was like the perfect bridge. Can you get him on a 1-year deal? Probably not.
Yeah.
Does it cost you 2 and maybe you burn him after the first year? Maybe. I thought that could make sense. I think if they were open to the idea of potentially being in the lottery again, he might have been the guy. But I genuinely don't think that they think they're going to be in the lottery, and so they weren't gonna do that. They were going to bring in a guy that they think helps them reach a higher level. So,
what is that higher level? Because I look at this team as like you're an 8 or a 9 seed, and I just think you need to suck more for high end talent.
I think that they're going to end up being a playoff team.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that they'll be, maybe it's the 8th seed, but I think they'll be a playoff team, or they'll just miss it. But the difference between like maybe being a fringe playoff team now versus like good old Fletcher Mort's years is that
or Hextall years.
Well, it's even okay. So even in the Hextall years, like the idea was that they were building towards something, and like they drafted horribly, and like it didn't work. With Fletcher, it was like Band-Aid after Band-Aid, bad signing after bad signing, just to try to make the playoffs, right? And it's like reaching and like giving Kevin Hayes a huge contract and like just trying to like scratch your way into the playoffs, and then saying, "Oh, you never know though, right? Because things can always happen, and you just have to make it into the playoffs, and you let the chips fall where they may, No, bullshit. Like I want a winner. I want a contender. I want multiple years of contending, right? That's what I want.
You want the Jim Nill experience at least.
Yeah, so like at least with Briere here, I feel like you're building towards something. So even if they miss the playoffs next year, like I think the roster will be improved. I think that Zegras being on this team makes this team at least somewhat better on the power play. If they can address goaltending in any way, and the guy they bring is either going to be the number one, and Erson's going to now become the backup, which is where he's honestly better suited. Yeah. Or it's going to be a guy who's going to kind of do like a 60-40 split with Erson. It's obviously going to be an upgrade over Kolosov and Fedotov. Then cool. Like upgrade your goaltending, get the power play from like dead last to like 20th, maybe 15th. You're in the playoffs. It doesn't take that much, realistically. Like they weren't good last year, but they had historically bad goaltending, and like you can't win with horrific goaltending.
I know. I saw it in Florida. They couldn't stop a beach ball that day on a Saturday. Anyways, your thoughts when you saw Trevor Zegras, like he was up for trade dog. I was like, it's what same year, same thing. Trevor Zegras for Ryan Paling and 2 picks. How were you excited, or are you just shocked that they found someone to take Trevor? Were they shocked the Flyers got Trevor Zegras? Honestly,
I was surprised by the return. So I saw a tweet earlier in the day that said, "What would you trade? Like, what package would you trade for Zegras?" And I said I wouldn't, and that was predicated on like most people you saw were saying like a first round pick and this, or a second round pick and a roster player like a Cam York, who I by the way think they should absolutely be open to trading.
Oh, for sure.
I'm starting to think that I might have an anti-Ginger bias, like, and it's like a
podcast.
Is it what's it called? What's it called? Implicit bias or something like that. So like
consideration bias or
I have this like it's like a non-conscious bias
Yes,
right?
that's the one they teach you. On
It's not unconscious. I think it's non-conscious bias. Somebody can let you know in the comments or whatever. But like, there's a term out there, right? Where you're just like a horrible person, but you don't mean to be, apparently. So I realize this because like I'm not a Giroux guy, Ginger. Voracek blocked me on Twitter after name searching himself years ago, Ginger. I think that they should be open to trading Cam York, Ginger. I think that the Owen Tippett contract was a mistake and they should probably look to move off him, Ginger. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't remember any redheaded person ever hurting my feelings, right? So I don't know what it is. But anyway, the Zegras thing I liked because I just didn't see a scenario where like, all right, 45th overall pick, so a second rounder. You had 4 of them. Okay, fine. Now you go down to 3. You only have 3 first rounds and 3 second rounders in the draft. So you trade 45. You trade a 4th round pick, which unless it becomes the ultimate like anomaly, the diamond in the rough or whatever, like a Kaprizov was when he was a later round pick. Like, all right, that's an anomaly. Like that's not the rule. That's the exception to the norm.
Yeah.
Then you're talking about a 4th round pick. Who cares? And Ryan Poehling, really good dude, well liked, played an important role as a bottom 6 forward. You should be able to find somebody to replace him. You're getting back a guy who $5.75 million for a single season. Then you have his restricted free agent rights. You can test him at center. You can test him at wing. You could figure out if he's going to work. Will he work here longer term with Tocchet, who's your new coach? So Tocchet's going to be here unless like something horrific happens. He's going to be here for a few years. You'll have an idea if that's going to work. And then you can either sign him or you could trade the exclusive negotiating window of his rights. There's like no downside to it. I made the joke the other day. He could puke all over himself, never play a game, and you still make that trade 10 times out of 10 because of the upside there versus like what the upside of the other 3 assets were.
Here's his points. He had 61 points in 21, 22, and 75 games, 65 and 81 games, 22, 23. He had the knee injury in 23, 24, had 15 and 32 points in 57 games last year. It's kind of, are we like knee injuries take forever? Would you say like 2 years to fully recover? Do we see like he's in like the 40 to 50 point range, you think, this coming year or more?
Oh, he could certainly go above that. So like put it like this. I think that for most of the season, he'll play with one of or both, depending on the wings, right? Like, depending on if you're going to play off wing or not. Probably play most of his games. If he can play 70, 80 games, right? Let's just assume no injuries, which might be kind of tough after back-to-back injury-riddled seasons. If he plays 70-plus games, he's going to have one or both of Mishkov and Konechny on his wing, right? Oh, yeah. And so you just think about and he'll get power play time.
Oh, for sure.
So my floor for Trevor Zegras this season is probably 60 points, maybe 65. Because like they're going to still have to rely on him in other capacities. And like the power play, again, was dead last.
Brutal.
For years. Horrific. It's going to be better this year. It has to be. So I think that what you're going to see is Mishkov's going to like take that next step, right? Mishkov should be almost a shoo-in for 30-plus goals. Well, he's got to get fed the puck. He can create his own shot.
Yeah.
But like I think 65 is probably the floor for Zegras. I'm not going to go crazy and say, oh, Trevor Zegras guaranteed to be a point-per-game player. Come on now. Is he going to challenge for 90 points in the season? No, like, we're not doing that.
No.
But, like, I think 65 is, like, a perfectly reasonable expectation. I'm not saying I'd be shocked if it doesn't happen, but, like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't see him, like, finishing 50 or under if he's playing a bunch of games. I just find it hard to imagine. I mean, for God's sake, like Morgan Frost had 37 points last year.
That dude was ass anyway.
Okay,
I never want to hear that.
He had 37 points, and he had opportunities to play with Mishkov, and like 37 is like a really low bar, but like I don't know. I can't. 65 should be like a reasonable expectation.
I would like to be able to see him be actually entertaining for whenever I want to watch a Flyer game anyways. When I'm not producing a Panther game or watching a late night game anyways. That's been my expectation since I moved down here. Just entertain me. Then you have the watching ability.
Even if you wanted to be really conservative and say like 50 is going to be like the floor, keep in mind that last year Couturier, despite getting shuffled all around and like the fluctuating of minutes and everything, he still finished with 45 points on the season. You have to imagine that, like, while Couturier and Zegras are totally different players, again, it's like you think about the excitement factor. You think
That's a hell
about
of
the
a power play,
situational. Like, it should pay dividends. Like, they should be in significantly better shape next year.
All right, I'll take that. Do you think he's going to actually learn how to play the be a two-way player? You think, or is he going to still be a one-wayer?
Can I make the pitch that he doesn't need to learn the other way?
Well, I'm here to listen.
does.
I'm not
He
no
does.
Mark Cuban on Shark Tank, but I'll listen.
Yeah, he certainly needs to be a 200-foot player, but like within reason. I think that's going to ultimately what is going to take you from being closer to that like floor projection versus like being able to be a point per game guy or maybe even better is he's going to have to be more responsive or more responsible defensively because you're likely going to end up playing a bit with Mishkov. Yeah. And while we love Mishkov, while he's a great guy and he's a dynamic offensive talent, Mishkov's also not a 200-foot player.
No.
Now, Tocchet, I'm sure, is going to like work on kind of like pounding that into his head like Tortorella did. You can't have two guys on the ice that are totally inept defensively. No. So, make of that what you will. Listen, if Zegras doesn't figure it out, he'll play 3C. He'll get dropped to the fourth line from time to time. So he's got to figure it out. Like, you want to play with the guys that are actually dynamic and very good and are going to help your total and in a contract year are going to help get you paid over that 5.75 you're going to make this year. Well, figure it out defensively. And if you don't, good luck. God bless. If it doesn't work, then they might look at him on the wing like Anaheim wanted to. But I also wouldn't do that. So we'll see.
Real big thing is he wants to play center. He said it yesterday on, I think it was 97.5 the afternoon show. I don't know what the name is anyways. Do we actually like? Who do you think his wings are? It's gonna be Mitchkov and connecting. You think, or do you think you can learn from?
I think they'll probably split it. I would assume that like Tippett could be on it. You might see could you see a Tippett and a Mishkov together? That would be intriguing. Like maybe.
Does that intrigue you at all or no?
It does intrigue me. What's more intriguing, though, is what Russ hit on earlier, the fact that it seems as if the Flyers organization itself has sort of decided to grow up and actually make moves and allow that growth and allow that talent to actually be matured and putting the right pieces in place. It's been such a long time in Philadelphia, just as a fan who follows the team, that you're just like, what are you guys doing? Like, you just see BS move after BS move, and you're saying it was a band-aid. Now it's like, all right, finally somebody woke up and said, all right, look, we're a professional hockey organization, but we need to be respectable and responsible to our product, to our fans, to our players, to everyone. And it's great to actually have a conversation about the Flyers, and you're talking about hockey, and the guys, not what did we do now? Who did we sell? We ate that contract.
Bring back Bobby C, as some phone caller would say.
Seriously, it's it's refreshing, and I think it's going to shock a lot of Flyers fans to understand that they've taken that step. And it's not going to happen overnight. But like Russ was saying, off of just shits and giggles last year, you almost crept into the playoffs. Now you're coming. Mentalities change, more focused coach, GM's pulling some strings. You're starting to get the little pieces. You're not pulling in superstar names right away because obviously you need to build that, you need to build that character up. But finally, thank you, for taking this shit serious.
Yeah.
Where do you see? We got the draft on Friday. If you're listening, this may have happened already. What do you want to see with the Flyers? They have 3 first-round picks. Do you see them packing those 2 the lower-end first-round picks to get a player, you think, or go for a player and a first-round pick later in the year?
It's always a tricky thing, man.
So, there's a case to be made, and this is what's annoying, and this is why liking hockey and basketball at the same time is annoying.
Choose one. That's what I've decided anyway.
It's just, so I look at it, and my heartstrings are always with the Sixers, and so I'm like, all right, Ace Bailey's a jackass. Do I really want them to take the jackass? Probably not. So is VJ Edgecombe at the same level as Ace Bailey? Well, they're clearly not as good as Dylan Harper. So do you trade down because it's just another tier and you're going to get one of those tier of players? Maybe. And so I think that kind of applies to the NHL as well, where it's all right, Schaefer's number one. Misa's probably number two, although they're like maybe smoke screens out there. They're like, oh, maybe Misa won't be the pick at number two. And then it like throws the whole draft into chaos. And like, maybe that's it. I would say it's almost a 0% chance that the Flyers trade up. If Misa doesn't go 2, and then Chicago's on the clock at 3, could Chicago trade back to 6, knowing that Porter Martone will probably be there at that point because the Flyers are going to take Misa? Like, maybe. It's possible. I think that they'd probably benefit from drafting a wing. So, like, that'd be cool. If Misa somehow falls to 4 and Utah's there, Utah doesn't give a shit. They'll trade back because they moved up 10 spots. Like, it's all found money for them. The question is, like, what else do you have to attach to move up? And I'm not sure that there's anybody that you would get in that top. Misa's a different case, but because I don't think he'll fall to, like, 3-4, we're going to take him out of the scenario here. Like, I wouldn't trade 6 and 22 to move up to, like, 4 or 5 and go after, like, Dignoye or Brady Martin or something. Like, no. Like, stay at 6. Now, I could really get into the idea that if you, like, Buffalo calls, because Buffalo's dumb, and they are in the draft. Like, that, who cares?
Yes.
If Buffalo says, hey, you guys want to trade back to 9? We'll send you Bo Byram as part of it. Oh, okay, I could do that, because then I look at, like, whoever is there between 6 and 9, it's still that same tier of player.
Yeah.
If you, I don't know, if you were, like, to try to make a deal and you trade back to 9, and part of the price is, like, you get Buffalo's pick next year, that's great, because we know Buffalo's going to suck no matter what. And that is a legitimate lottery ticket to try to get Gavin McKenna.
Oh, yeah.
Like, everybody in Flyers lane who's like, you can't trade, because, like, I'm a big, like, trade up from 22, try to go get a falling Roger McQueen. I keep trying to manifest it in the universe. If it happens, I swear my Twitter mentions are going to be amazing on draft night. If it happens, like,
Russ has been saying this for a long time. I always knew he had it in him. I knew it. We love you, Russ.
and everybody else is going to be like if he goes like number 8 or something, like,
Fuck you, Russ. You were an idiot. I always knew you were so stupid. How did you think he was going to fall to 13?
this is what I imagine these people sound like. So
Sounds like the Philly radio colors these days, or the Miami sports colors.
yeah. So like, I think it's more likely, I guess, that they trade down than trade up. But if you trade down, like, the asset has to be worth it. It has to be a roster player. It has to be like, could you somehow get like Paterka from Buffalo? Could you somehow get Bo Byram out of Buffalo? Like, if so, move back, get a guy who's still in that tier of players. You feel good. You have an instant contributor on the roster, and you've also gotten a guy from the same tier of players. If moving up means you can go after Misa, then cool. Like, that's a scenario where you say, trade all 3 first-round picks.
Yeah.
If you think he's that much better than everyone else, and it was a mistake, and he fell. I still think they probably draft at 6.
Okay.
And I think they get frisky at 22.
Okay.
I do think that there's a scenario where they trade up from 22 into the teens. Now, while I would love to see 6'5" center Roger McQueen fall to them, I don't think it'll happen. And with that in mind, it's like maybe you're going after a defenseman, and a guy like is sitting there at 15 that you didn't expect to. And now you have to throw in an additional pick. Like, maybe it's 31, maybe it's throwing a couple of the seconds, like something. I think Briere will get frisky enough to move up. I would almost be shocked. If they pick at 6 and at 22, I will be dumbfounded.
Same too.
And then 31, like, God knows. Like, I'd actually be willing to punt 31 to next year if you can get somebody's lottery ticket for McKenna. But it can't be like, oh, we're trading the Oilers pick to Florida.
Buffalo.
Like, no, I don't want Florida's pick next year. No, thank you.
Florida needs a lot of things right now. They're trying to figure out cap space already, which is even funny. You want to know what the talk is down here? They're trying to re-sign all 3: Bennett, Marchand, and Ekblad.
Oy.
Do you think that's going to happen? I don't see it. I think you're going to get 2. Or maybe
Ekblad?
1. Yeah, Ekblad, Bennett, and Marchand. Those are the 3 people. It's like, we're going to get all 3 back. Like, I don't see it happening.
Well, I think it depends on what you. I think it depends on what you value at that point in your career. Like, so if you are, if you're Brad Marchand,
Yeah.
you spent your whole career in Boston, right? You won cups, great, good on you. You go to Florida, you're definitely like at the tail of your career.
Yeah.
You have a chance to go win another cup. Are you willing to take less money to do it? I think there's a good chance. Also, no tax. I know Gary Bettman says no tax is definitely not an advantage.
That's not an advantage. It doesn't help.
Yeah, sure, Gary. Asshole. Sure.
Jerk off.
Yeah, it doesn't help
jerk
anybody.
off anyways.
So he's Ace Bailey. He's the Ace Bailey of the
He used
NHL.
to.
So if you're Marchand, like I could see him saying, like, yeah, I'll take a little bit less. Like, I'm not going to take like a third of what I can get on the open market, but like, yeah, maybe. And then Ekblad, I think, is probably your most likely to leave. I don't see a scenario where Bennett leaves.
I think Bennett's staying anyways. I have a weird feeling.
Well, he did the whole like Wolf of Wall Street thing. I'm not leaving.
You did 11. You did
11.
11 anyways.
So I think he'll be back. Now the question on the Bennett thing is like how much wiggle room is there? Because if Bennett takes less than we expect, right? Like if Bennett takes $7.5 million, does Ekblad then look at it and say, you know what, I'll take a little bit less too? Like we'll finesse this thing.
Wouldn't that be
we'll all
bad
take
for
a little
NHLPA
bit less.
though?
It would be horrible for the NHLPA, but I would make the case that the precedent's already been set. I think that the Sam Reinhart deal is actually the one that hurt the most because he could have probably come close to setting the high bar for centers. And the fact that like he took less money than the open market should have dictated to go play in Florida, I think that actually did hurt them.
For sure.
So I think Ekblad's probably the most likely to leave. If you're the Flyers, right, and I'm not saying the Flyers are going to go after Ekblad.
No.
But like if you're the Flyers or a Flyers adjacent team and you're trying to make the playoffs, maybe you do overpay on a short-term deal. The question is, does the player want AAV or does he want term? Is he crazy enough to want both? If he's fine on like, I'll take a short deal on high AAV, then maybe you do get like a Flyers-esque team that comes in and says, yeah, we want to solidify the blue line, want to make a playoff push, want to teach the young guys how to win, all that kind of stuff. It'd be a great signing.
Yeah.
If he wants term, well, that rules out a lot of teams like the Flyers. Yeah. So I wouldn't see that. I think he's the most likely one to leave. I think Bennett's committed. Like, it's funny. I work with a few people, and in my day job, I work with some companies that have a bunch of Toronto-based people. And, you know, I was up there with them last week, and they're still kind of hurt about the Maple Leafs, you know, getting bounced. And I was like, well, what did you expect? You know,
I like to thank the Maple Leaf fan for buying all my tickets. Anyways, they helped me out get like $1,200. Anyways, so
that's excellent.
And the Oiler fan for spending $2,100 for my Game 6 ticket too.
That feels like a humble brag there, but all right, we'll take it.
It is, yeah.
But
got to pay the bills.
These guys, like all these people, are like Sam Bennett. He's going to come to Toronto. And I was like, no, he's not. I'm like, they're about to win another cup. This is like early in the series.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, Edmonton goes up. Everyone's like, oh, man, the Oilers, they're going to end the cup drought for Canada. I'm like, no, they're not. No. Like, their goalie sucks. Stuart Skinner sucks. Oh, like, he'll get pulled. I was like, he'll get pulled by game 3, game 4. Goaltending's going to be like the whole thing, and it's all going to fall apart. And like, goaltending's going to be what ultimately gets the blame. What happened? Oh, yeah. Russ Joy here was right again. But they're like, oh, Sam Bennett, he's gonna come up to Toronto. I'm like, no, he's not. No. I'm like, Sam Bennett can either make maybe $8.5 million.
I say 9.
No tax to stay in Florida and try to three-peat as a cup champ, or get paid $10 million, pay significantly higher taxes in Toronto, be under the spotlight of the Toronto media. Oh, and by the way, come up short because Toronto does that every year. What would you prefer? And it's like, yeah, for the extra $1.5 million, maybe you do feel like, well, it's worth it. Yeah. I don't think it is. I really think it is. Palm trees, no tax, a little bit less money, chance at a cup versus misery. Toronto's a nice city, but misery. There's no palm trees. No palm trees there.
You can't drive his Lamborghini to the games of the practice facility or drive his golf cart to the Baptist Health Icebox anyways.
Yeah, no. That's it. You need the golf cart.
That is very true. We'll talk league with you. Do you think you hate the idea of the NHL going back to Atlanta? That's the rumor right now.
I think it's one of the dumbest things I could say. Here's the problem.
I'm with you on that one too. They should just go to Houston instead, in my opinion.
Here's the problem, right? It's failed in Atlanta a bunch of times, and then you get people who say, "Yeah, well, this is different. You know, this is a different."
No, you're talking about the suburbs of Atlanta. This is going to work out very differently.
I know I can give them credit, right? Like Atlanta's MLS team had incredible attendance. I don't know if it still does, but like at least initially had incredible attendance, right?
Yeah.
Braves fans show out sometimes when the team is good. The Falcons fans show out sometimes when the team is good. I'm sorry. I don't need another attempt to bring the NHL to Atlanta. I'd rather see them like Houston would be interesting.
Yeah.
Send a team back to Quebec City. Send a team to where I don't care.
I'm down for Phoenix again anyways.
I would not be. Please, there's no reason for that. Stop it. You then hate the sport. You know what'd be really funny?
Go.
Nobody will do this. What if like the NHL said, you know what? We're going to go to a place that doesn't have a pro team, period. Like, what about Nebraska? It's cold there. What if they were just like, you know what? We can fill this arena every night because Nebraska doesn't have any pro teams. Nebraska. Montana, all right, maybe not. Let's not get crazy. The Dakotas, both of them are just secret nuclear sites, right? So, all right, neither North nor South Dakota. Wyoming, maybe. Hey, boo-boo. You get a bunch of moose, you know? But, like, Nebraska. Why not Nebraska? Why can't they have a team? Oklahoma. Can we get, like, the Thunder are very successful. Can you get an Oklahoma hockey team? I don't know. Just saying. Just saying.
I like Nebraska more because Jet Gensel's from there anyways. It'll be perfect anyways. He played hockey there.
Yeah.
Be perfect. The big thing I like to say, where do you think Mitch Marner is going to go? He's a free agent.
Vegas. I'd probably go to Vegas. Yeah, I mean, there was a rumor out there that, like, Chicago could be a player for him. I don't know why you would go to Chicago if you're Marner. Vegas seems like a lot of fun. I mean, like, why would you not want to go play in a place that you can automatically contend for a cup? It's been a team that's been in the mix every year. Why wouldn't that be your preferred destination? Feels like a total mistake if that's not the one.
I don't trust him in Anaheim. I don't believe in Quenneville's idea.
God, that'd be a I mean, Marner, listen, I don't know much about Marner as a human being. I can't imagine. Why would you go to Anaheim? I keep coming back to that. Like, if you're a free agent, why would you go to Anaheim?
It's like that in Carolina, too. Like, why would you?
What gets you excited about going to play for Quenneville? What gets you excited? Going to, like, Carolina? Like, absolutely not. No player wants to go to Carolina. I love North Carolina, okay? Let it be known. I enjoy the state of North. I intend to retire to North Carolina, maybe. But if I'm a player, I'm not going there. No, absolutely not. So
I think I like to see it's like the tax-free states are Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Florida, or Vegas. I don't know if Tampa has a space for them. Anyways, that's what I could see him, but I don't think that will happen. Nashville's a gong show, even though they hired Luke Richardson and they have a all 40 team anyways. I call it.
Yeah.
So, Russ, what's going on with the Russ Joy show? I enjoy checking in on there all the time whenever I can.
Just bringing hilarity and a little bit of levity to an overly serious sports scene in the greater Philadelphia area. So every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on YouTube. The time varies. No one ever actually knows when it happens. I like to think of it as a nice little surprise, a little bundle of joy. You know, you just, is the show going to go in the morning? It's going to happen midday. It's going to happen in the afternoon. Who the hell knows? But we get in there. And the people join over on YouTube and Facebook and X, and they all start going at it in the comments section. It's a great time. It's a lot of fun. Oh, yeah. Or you get your money back, but you don't pay for anything. So, in fairness, you ain't getting jack shit back from me. But it should be a lot of fun, you know.
Any idea when Crossing Broadcast, that Monday show, is coming back at all or not?
I don't know if it ever will. It's all on Kinker. See, here, what had happened was, you know, I helped start that show years ago.
Yes.
Kyle Scott and Adam Lefkoe. Great time. Great first year. Eagles.
I was a listener of that show, by the way.
Eagles won a Super Bowl our first year. Lefkoe gets a bigger deal from Turner. He heads off to go do the Turner thing. Kyle and I kept that show alive for a while. Kyle and I wanted to, you know, pretty much end each other at some point during every show. That like went through a bunch of iterations, and like this most recent one was fun. And like I remember saying to Kevin, like, look, I'll do a Monday show as a solo show. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. And like, listener numbers were fine. Everything was fine. And then I was like, you know what? Like, why am I doing this? Like, at some point, you just kind of go like, there's only so much growth you can have. It's weird to have like a solo show on a Monday and then have like multiple people on a Wednesday or Thursday or whatever it was we were doing.
Thursday. I always did a Thursday show of
And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go start my own show. What's the worst thing? The worst thing that would happen is nobody watches, nobody listens, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, we'll see. And that beautiful little channel has grown significantly since the start of the year. And darn it, I intend on continuing to grow that show. Take it, maybe not to the moon, but like take it.
We want to see the moon for you.
Take it in an upward fashion. You know, just going to keep going, keep growing, you know? So I'll have an episode of that later on. I guess it depends when people are listening to the show, when they end up getting this.
Thursday.
But like, okay, so my Wednesday show then will already be available on YouTube and wherever they get their podcasts. And then Friday is going to be weird because I have to go down to Atlantic City to go do the War Room show with Snow the Goalie. We're going to be outside of the War Room. We're going to be bringing on a bunch of guests. There are a bunch of very interesting, exciting first-time guests on the show. And so I think that's going to be a lot of fun. That'll be going live during the first round of the NHL draft. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do my show. Do I do it really early? Do I do it in the car on the way back from Atlantic City? Do I stay the night and do my own show from a hotel room while my wife is like, hey, do you want to like go get a really late dinner? And I go, hey, hold on. I got to go out to the comments. We got to do the Russ Joy show on a Friday night.
Do it in the car. Do it in the car. That'll be way better.
Yeah, you won't be able to see me, right? Because it's just going to be like the darkness of the night as I drive on whatever that highway is.
A low setting, and you'll be good to go anyways.
I get pulled over by a cop, and they're like, sir, were you using a ring light in your car? Or are you okay? No, officer, sir, or ma'am, or gender fluid. But like, officer, I was just doing the Russ Joy. Oh, wait, you're of the Russ Joy? Oh, yeah. I watched that show. Oh, thank you.
One day, anyways.
Big, I'm very big in the police community. Apparently,
we all are. Anyways,
nice.
Everybody is. We're all just it's great.
This is actually number one. A lot of the cops in South Florida love this show, and it's also funny enough. I was checking out the ratings. We're big in Russia somehow. Actually, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Очень приятно, меня зовут Russell.
How about that, Russ? How about the Russ?
A little shout out to the Russians out there. How we doing? How you doing? All right.
How you doing? Anyway. All right, Russ. We will check out the Snow the Goalie. I will have the alerts on as I have to do the Florida Panther draft show. But I'll say this: you guys, this draft shall be entertaining, but next year's will be even more entertaining. I'll say.
We shall see. Just wait. Gavin McKenna's going to Pittsburgh next year. Come on, it's already rigged.
Please no. Please.
They need their Crosby replacement. Let's get real.
There you go.
Why don't we just?
Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem. Take care, man.
Thank you.
All right. See you later.
Bye.